You'd be surprised what comes up in conversation when paleontologists spend long days in the field. Some of it is deep time in ancient ecosystems. Some of it is, well, trying to remember our fourth favorite hat. This is Fourth Favorite Hat, a look into real dig site chatter of the Montana Dinosaur Center. Each episode brings you the work, the stories, the arguments, the questions, and the odd tangents that emerge when you put scientists, shovels, fossils, and too much sun in the same place. And yes, every guest still has to answer the only question that really matters. What's your fourth favorite hat? Let's get started.
Hello, everyone. My name is Andy, and my fourth favorite hat is my South Dakota Badlands dad cap.
I'm Brett, and my fourth favorite hat is my Lake Champlain Lake Monsters baseball cap.
I'm Bryce, and my fourth favorite hat is my wide-brimmed Denver Zoo hat.
Questions we get asked a lot are, what made us interested in paleontology? How did we start? And we figured we would start a series, a little mini-series in our episodes, where each one of us talks about our own specific journey in paleontology. Similar to the introduction order, we have decided to do it in alphabetical order. It's a very hard competition when the names start with A and B, but that does start with Andy, which is me.
How did you get into paleontology?
Like, I'm pretty sure you and Bryce are also going to say, it was a childhood obsession that was nurtured by a supportive family. I saw the Field Museum when I was a baby, and it fundamentally rewired my brain chemistry. And all of that is because my mom got tired of my older sister, who was 3 at the time, I was 0, running through the mummy exhibit over and over again. So there is a alternate timeline where there is an Egyptologist Andy through sheer brute force. From that, though, it's a matter of pursuing education. You know, there are a wide amount of degrees or even non-degree holding paleontologists, but furthering your knowledge is the next step. It's one thing to know a lot of dinosaur names, it's another to understand life through time.
So a lot of times people kind of associate paleontology degrees with either like geology or biology as the main overarching ones. Which one did you end up getting into? If any, you could have taken a different route too.
I love to tell people paleontology is a hybrid science. You can really get at it through any way. I myself specialize in geology, the study of Earth and its processes, with a bio minor. That's what my undergrad degree from Beloit College was. Then I got my master's from South Dakota School of Mines and Technology in a paleontology, and it was at Beloit I kind of fell in love with my specific research area. So, like anything, paleontology can be made more specific. Your specialties. So, I'm a taphonomist. I study a type of paleontology called taphonomy, whereas Bret and Bryce will give you their answers, but their answers are not as cool as mine.
So, Andy, what is taphonomy and what makes it so cool?
Thank you for playing along. I thought you were going to bash me, but you know. So taphonomy was founded in 1940 by a fella named Ivan Efremov. It means the laws of burial, which is just a cool name. Efremov was a paleontologist from Russia, also a science fiction author. He has a healthy repertoire of stuff that he's written. And he's just kind of cool.
Any of it any good?
You know, it's 40s, 50s era sci-fi, so
I mean, there's lots of 40s, 50s era sci-fi that's good, and there's a lot of it that's bad.
yeah.
Which side does it fall into?
Show its merits now.
No, like some of them are good.
Okay, some good, some bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the nature of the beast, ain't it? But as a scientist, he loved working on specifically the different tetrapods that he could find in Russia and how they were preserved, being the person who coined taphonomy, which is, in his words, every detail as an animal transitions from the biosphere to the lithosphere. Now, the definition has evolved. It's not just animals that undergo taphonomy. It studies what happens to a living thing after it dies. That's split into 2 main parts. Biostratonomy, which is the organism is dead, but it's not buried yet. Let's say there's a zebra in the savannah. This is when like hyenas and vultures are picking at it, that sort of stuff. And then diagenesis, where it's buried and actively becoming fossils, as well as anything that happens if it's, say, exhumed either by nature or by humans. The easiest way to say it is I look at how fossils are. How did it get there as a fossil, and what does it tell me about the environment?
Does that also include the fossilization process?
Yes, in particular, I look at the elements as well as the minerals that fossilize things. In my first paper, Insights from Fossil Fish Taphonomy into the Depositional Environment of the Lower Milwaukee Formation, open parentheses, birthlet member, comma, latest Middle Devonian, close parentheses. I look at a bunch of fish fossils, which it wasn't intentional to be mostly placoderms, but like, boy howdy, it was mostly placoderms, these armored fish. And I looked at how they were fossilized with the argillaceous dolostone, as well as a lot of pyrite. And this is what sparked me as a taphonomist. This is where I found my love for it. I was a junior in college in my geology degree in Wisconsin, and I knew I wanted to do something with vertebrate paleontology. Okay, kind of a rough spot for that. Wisconsin's got limited vertebrate fossils. There's some Cenozoic stuff and glacial deposits, and then a lot of ocean stuff. But because of glaciers, there's a huge missing gap of time. So I went to my professor who was new at the time, and I asked him if he would be my research advisor. I was the first student to actively ask him that. He was very excited, and I said, cool, what's something vertebrate paleontology related here? And he was so excited because he's an invert guy, but he had his connections, and he asked if I was interested in fish, and I said, sure, why not? From there, there's sort of 3 ways it could have gone. I fall in love with taphonomy, I fall in love with fossil fish, or I hate both and try something new. I like taphonomy, I really like it. I also like the fish I studied, they're goobers. That's sort of where I got bit with it, because then based off of how these guys preserved, I was able to tell a lot about the environment and add to the story of what the Milwaukee Formation was. Funnily enough, when I was presenting on it at a location where there were many international people, I very much had to say the Milwaukee Formation, which upset all my Wisconsin friends because it's the Milwaukee Formation, because it's from Milwaukee.
I don't think I've ever heard it pronounced that way before.
Have you ever been to Wisconsin?
No.
No.
And there you go. Yeah, no, they gave me a lot of guff for actively pronouncing all the syllables.
That's really funny.
It was a very fun project. And then for my master's, I worked on mosasaurs, which are these big old sea monsters. And I looked at basically from 2 different regions of South Dakota, seeing if the mosasaurs fossilize in similar processes. And the answer is it's a hot mess, lovingly stated. But if you look up mosasaur taphonomy from the Sharon Springs member of the Pierre Shale Formation, South Dakota, and to clarify, Pierre Shale is spelled Pierre, like the French name, but it's named after Pierre, South Dakota, because, God forbid we say anything French correctly.
Wait, they don't call it Pierre there?
No.
Oh, I've also never heard that pronounced by this from there, I guess.
Bryce, am I just blowing your mind with city pronunciation this episode? Is that what I'm titling this episode?
Yeah, I think so.
Bryce learns how
I mean,
cities are pronounced.
You ever
First thing you're
studied
gonna-
any fossils in a city that has like a name pronounced correctly?
No, because I've also worked in
You work in Shoto?
Thermopolis, and that's supposed to be Thermopylae, and then Shoto is pronounced incorrect. I guess Bynum is pronounced correctly.
Yeah, that's just some random last name. So
Yeah. Could be Binum, but
Now you're
also
gonna-
Now we're
saying
gonna find out that it was supposed to be Binum the whole time.
I also feel
Turn
like
off.
I'm cheating by saying, yeah, I've worked in a city that has a name pronounced correctly. It's Bynum.
Yeah, it's not really a city.
It doesn't even meet the medieval definition of city, which is 1,000 people.
it doesn't even meet the definition of a hamlet.
It's actually a census designated place.
And it's our census designated place.
I like that title a lot, actually.
Oh, it's
Kind of tells the vibe.
it is such a fun fact to drop on people because anytime I'm not in Montana and it comes up, people be like, oh, so do you live in a small town? And I'm like, technically it's not a town, it's that small.
It's always fun to tell people that now I live in a place that has less people than most of my high school classes.
I feel like that adds to the charm.
It really does.
My interests are vertebrate taphonomy. So long as it has bones and is dead and fossilized, I like it. So my plan for if I ever get a PhD, I want to work on something from the Cenozoic, because with my placoderms, it's the Paleozoic. With my mosasaurs, it's the Mesozoic. So if I get the Cenozoic, then I get all 3 zoics.
What if you work on like Edicarian fauna?
But that doesn't end in zoic.
Yeah, but that's like a guess.
Now, if it was the Edicarian zoic, you say Edicarian, I've always said Ediacaran.
Really? I've only
Yeah.
ever heard Edicarian. How about you, Bryce? Weigh in.
Also, only Edicarian for me.
Really?
Are we just finding out that Andy pronounces things wrong?
No, do not say that. If we get like one listener from Wisconsin, please, Wisconsinites, side with me. Don't let them gaslight me.
Maybe this is just like a Chicagoan thing.
Might be.
Chicagoan, you're cutting out syllables.
I don't know if that's true.
I've only ever heard Chicagoan.
You're the
Yeah.
only one saying it.
Bryce just said it.
Oh, oh no, two people are wrong? What are the odds?
I don't know. That's 100% of the sample size, Andy.
It clearly isn't, unless you're excluding me.
Okay, well, it's 66% of the sample size. That's a super majority.
You're an outlier, Andy. I don't know what to tell you. You're statistically insignificant.
Wow, Bryce has insulted me a lot in our career together, but I don't think I've ever been so thoroughly harmed by his words.
Is to be being called statistically insignificant.
Yeah, that one's just brutal, bud. I thought, I thought we were good friends. Uh,
I mean, it makes you feel better. It's not you in general, it's just your opinion on this survey.
oh, walking it back, can't even commit to his own brutal words.
That's a good insult, though. You can keep that for later if you want.
Yes.
You too, dear listeners.
You guys are statistically significant listeners.
It's true.
Yeah, but a big part of taphonomy, getting us back on track, that I really like about where we currently work is the two medicine fossils are fascinating. So they are preserved with a high amount of calcium, thanks to the Rocky Mountains. And because of that, they're very high definition fossils. So you can get some really interesting preservation going, as well as you can get things that don't fossilize well, like eggs and babies. As a taphonomist, I kind of have to describe some very grisly scenes. Babies are soft. They do not preserve well. Nature is good at breaking things, and babies are things. I also feel like I have to dispel a lot of Jurassic Park misconceptions, because a lot of people think that fossils come pristine. They're all in one piece, and they're all laid out like the animal was in life. And sometimes we get that, and a lot of times we don't.
Kind of the exception that proves the rule.
Yeah. If you're in a shallow ocean environment or a lake deposit, that is where some of the best articulation and bone not being in multiple pieces is gonna be. But we don't work in that. But that is half the fun of what I like to do. Why did this animal scatter? How did it scatter? In what direction? What happened to the bones after they scatter? It's like a puzzle if you're a madman who likes having half the pieces. And, let's be honest, we all pursued paleontology because we have a touch of madness in us.
Yeah, I mean, I'd argue that honestly, you could apply that sentiment to like puzzling with half the pieces to most of the subdivisions of paleontology, to be
Oh,
honest.
yes. I'm not saying that's taphonomy exclusive,
They're
but
common throughout paleontology.
and that just bolsters my point saying paleontologists have a bit of madness.
Yeah.
I would argue I'm being generous by just saying it's a bit.
Yeah.
I heard somebody describe it as we don't suffer from insanity. We're thoroughly enjoying every second of being insane. And yeah, that's pretty great. There's something so thrilling about somebody coming up to you at a dig or just at the museum and they're like, is this a dinosaur bone? And licking it and saying no and then throwing it away. It just stuns them and I thrive off of that.
We're also a big fan of your classic joke, your catchphrase at the fossil training grounds.
Bryce, I say so many things. You're gonna, oh, the leverite?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. There's a lot of times where guests will bring me a rock, and to make them feel special, I say, you guys just found a leverite. They're like, what's that? I'm like, you leave her right there. And then I drop it on the ground and walk away. And usually the parents find it hilarious, and the kids are pretty 50-50 on it.
That's fair. I mean, you're winning the majority of the time then, telling the joke.
Oh, yeah. I will say, them getting the joke is irrelevant to if I'm going to continue saying it or not.
I mean, that much is true.
You've been doing a lot of stuff with taphonomy and that kind of shenanigans in these different periods, and you have a plan for a future period even. But if you had to be involved in any other subdivision of paleontology, which one would you want to dip your toes in?
I think I would like to be an ankylosaurian specialist, somebody who basically goes into paleobiology, which Bryce will tell us more about, but focuses on them as animals. And I love ankylosaurs of all types. I love the ankylosaurids. I love the nodosaurids. They're just armored, dumpy fellas, and I love them. So I think that's what I would be. But from just my own personal research stuff, I've always liked taphonomy. I'm currently helping some friends, their own studies on distinguishing stuff from being what's called a pathology, something that happens in life, the injuries and healing, versus the taphonomy. Did this happen after death? So I've been helping them identify that with some of their specimens. That was a long-winded way to say I would also be interested in pathologies, because those are deeply fascinating and pretty closely tied with taphonomy, is trying to distinguish one from the other.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool line of work. Interesting, like light onto different like ecological behaviors as well as just
I mean,
what leads to these guys dying, really.
yeah, Brett's favorite dinosaur, the Allosaurus, those fellas are rife with pathologies. They lived
Oh yeah.
very interesting lives.
I mean, one was so cool they made a Walking with Dinosaurs special about it.
Yeah, the Ballad of Big Al, but I forget who it stars.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah,
It's a mystery.
yeah. I got to
They did
hold.
make a really good Flash game about it though.
Wait, there was a Flash game about Big Al?
There was. It
Oh,
was died when Flash died, but then someone in like the UK lovingly recreated it so it exists again.
this isn't like
But
the Google Chrome no internet dinosaur jump game, is it?
It's
no,
not
this is
Flash based.
actually this was an officially made Flash game where you play as Big Owl and you use like directional keys to go to different areas and like hunt food or whatever. And as you grow, as you eat food, you can starve. And as you go
Oh,
through
that's
different
my
life
favorite
stages,
mechanic.
yeah. And if you go through different life stages, you have to like make different paleontological interpretations of like what you think his behavior was, and that impacts how the game works.
Oh, that's really cool.
That's cool.
We should just steal that idea, but make it about Rusty.
I thought you were gonna say I think we should just play that game.
Well, we can also do that.
Pretty sure I like saved the link somewhere because I didn't want to lose it again, so we could definitely play the game at some point.
Yeah, so next game night
Yeah.
with the lads, we've got Nanosaur on the docket. Gotta find that. Ballad of Big Al game. That's 2 nights at least. Any other paleo games we want to? We should do
I'm
a
sure we'll think of
museum.
some.
We should do a museum run of fossil fighters. Commit to that, and then do a two medicine formation team.
I mean, there are enough to have a full team of two medicine formation dinosaurs.
Yeah, not at the beginning, but once we get them all, yeah.
Yeah.
The question is if we like film this for people to enjoy, or if this is just our thing.
Listeners, let us know
Yeah.
if that's something to be interested in.
If you have any dinosaur games you want us to play as well, you could also let us know, and we could potentially play them.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
But yeah, I think the reason why I study this in particular too, don't get me wrong, I love dinosaurs, I really do. But I've also wanted to show that paleontology isn't just dinosaurs. There's a whole host of other wonderful things to study in it. I understand I'm still putting myself in a niche by specializing in vertebrates. My roommate during my master's, he's invertebrate specialist, so I would always mock him for that because he never showed backbone.
Ha 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 ha!
Oh, those. I kind of wish he just stayed silent with those pity laughs. Taphonomy doesn't just apply to vertebrates. That's just what I study. You can look at plant taphonomy, you can look at invertebrate taphonomy. Theoretically, you can look at microbial taphonomy, but you gotta have like a microscope or has some really, really good eyes.
So, Andy,
Mhm.
of all the stuff this time you've been studying taphonomy, what's like the coolest thing that you've discovered when you were working with a bone or a fossil?
Ooh, that's a tough one. When I was working with the placoderm plates from Wisconsin, there was a plate that was previously thought to have muscle scarring on it. However, I was able to point out this is not muscle scarring. Otherwise, there would be symmetry. The scar would be mirrored. It was a attachment point from a brachiopod. So some of these plates had been left on the ocean floor for so long that brachiopods and corals had started to grow on them. That was really neat to kind of figure out and point out.
It's actually really cool. Like,
Yeah,
not
that
something
is
that you would
fun.
imagine happening.
I studied like 657 fossils, and the epibiont percentage was just about 9% of those, but like it's a cool 9%. Also, the shell crushing teeth of some of these placoderms, the Tyctodus, not to be confused with Tychodus, both of which are shell crushers, because life can't be easy. But it still has the ridges on them, much like a allosaur tooth has the serrations still on it. You could rub your thumb along it and feel how they would grind and crush shells. So that was cool. Epibionts are really fascinating. I love seeing those. There weren't really any epibionts in the mosasaurs I studied, which is kind of a shame, but I can't control that.
I mean, you study what's there, right?
Yes. I mean, I think that's paleontology.
Very, very true.
Yeah. I love when people are like, why don't you just dig where the fossils are? And I'm like, why didn't I think of that?
Well, I did, but there weren't more where I was digging. It was kind
Yeah.
of sad.
You'd be surprised how little me throwing my degrees on the ground and yelling, make fossils works.
Did you try rubbing your hands together? Do like a little chant?
Oh, like a genie's in there?
Yeah.
Dude, I would hate to be the genie trapped in some idiot's master's degree. He's just like, oh, this guy got a paleo degree? What is he doing?
Do you think degree-based genie would be a higher or lower class than a traditional lamp-based genie, like in terms of like wish allotment? How many
I
wishes
mean,
would a
the
degree genie
lamp-based
give you?
genie's got to be like the most powerful, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, they give you
I
3. That's pretty good.
I have to
Well, like
imagine a master's based one is
they don't
not
they don't even grant
only
your wishes. They just like give you student debt.
yeah, that is a low tier genie where he's like, "Hey, you want a degree?" and then claps his hands and disappears. Well, I hope you guys have learned maybe something useful about me. And in
And
the next,
taphonomy.
yes. Okay, taphonomy is more important than Andy. Good point, Brett. And speaking of Brett, next episode we'll be talking about Brett and what he likes about paleontology. I've been Andy,
I'm Brett.
I will be Bryce.
and have a wonderful day.
That's one conversation down, and there's millions more waiting for us out in the ancient dirt. If you want to join the crew on their next auditory adventure, subscribe to the Fourth Favorite Hat, the Montana Dinosaur Center podcast, available wherever podcasts are distributed. You can follow the museum on social media at TM Dinosaur Center, visit tmdinosaurcenter.org, or swing by the museum in Bynum, about 80 minutes north of Great Falls on Highway 89. Thanks for listening.